With the Black Ops 7 trailer dropping less than a week ago, it teased Raul Menendez's possible return to the Call of Duty franchise, and it's the perfect time to unravel the story of Call of Duty's best villain. I want to tell the complete story of Raul Menendez and explain why he is in Black Ops 7. So let's dive into his story. Raul Menendez was born in Nicaragua in 1963, a country torn apart by war. In his early years, he witnessed the brutal clashes between the American-backed Contra rebels and the dictatorship of the Nicaraguan government, with innocent civilians often getting caught in the crossfire. The chaos left deep scars on his mind, but his life took an even darker turn when in 1972, a massive earthquake leveled his family's home, killing his mother. Left reeling, Raul and his sister Josefina spent the next year scrambling for shelter wherever they could find it, while their father Jose laid the groundwork for what would become the Menendez cartel. The moment that would change Raul Menendez forever came on June 19, 1973. With their father away, Raul and Josefina sought refuge in a barn, bedding down on the hay for the night. Unknown to them, an American businessman had set the structure ablaze for insurance money. As flames roared through the barn, Josefina awoke first, stumbling to doors and opening them. The fire surged forward, searing her skin and catching her on fire as she passed out. Moments later, Raul jolted awake, frantically smothering the flames still clinging to her body. Believing her dead, he took her pendant, ready to use it to take his own life, only to hear her faint plea of "Raul, don't leave me." He picked her up and carried her to safety, but the damage was irreversible. Josefina remained disfigured and dependent on someone else's care for the rest of her life. When Raul learned an American was behind the blaze, his already simmering hatred for the United States ignited into a lifelong vendetta against the United States. Over the next several years, Raul and Jose built the Menendez cartel into a formidable empire, but as their drug trade grew, it drew the attention of the CIA, who issued an assassination order on Jose. He was gunned down in his home beside his private airstrip. An execution Raul, just 19, witnessed firsthand. Fleeing with Josefina, Raul stepped into his father's role as the cartel's leader, his loathing for America now a driving force. Channeling his rage, Raul became a gun runner, smuggling weapons to third world nations to fuel conflicts against the United States' interest. One such operation took him to Angola, where he personally delivered arms to MPLA rebels backed by Soviet munitions. While there, he captured Frank Woods, torturing him and locking him in a shipping container with his fallen comrades for weeks. As Raul radioed his contact, Lev Kravchenko, the Russian supplying him with arms, a botched rescue mission led by Alex Mason took Alex Mason straight to Raul. Caught off guard, Raul found himself at Mason's gunpoint, ordered to radio the Americans. Instead, he smashed the radio as his cartel enforcers burst in. Mason grabbed him as a human shield, and in a shocking move, one that took a little bit of balls, Raul pulled the pin on a grenade and dropped it at his own feet. Chaos erupted. Mason shot out Raul's eye, and the explosion hurled Mason through a window. Raul survived, scarred, but resolute, and has spent months recovering before escalating his smuggling operations with Kravchenko, arming conflicts in Angola, Cuba, and Afghanistan. In a cunning betrayal, however, Raul pitted CIA agents Frank Woods, Alex Mason, and Jason Hudson against his arms supplier Kravchenko, who had outlived his usefulness, while also ensnaring a Chinese commander, Tian Zhao, who was aiding the Mujahideen in Afghanistan. After the CIA agents helped defend the Mujahideen stronghold, they captured and killed Kravchenko after an interrogation, only to be betrayed by the Mujahideen, who tied them up with Zhao and left them to burn in the desert. Luckily, they broke free and were able to get back to shelter. However, a few months later, Hudson, Woods, and Mason would team up with the Panamanian military, led by Manuel Noriega, to raid Raul's compound in Nicaragua. They captured him, but Noriega, eyeing a future alliance, set Raul Menendez free. And furious, Raul fought his way back to the house where Josefina waited, and in the chaos, Frank Woods pulled the pin and threw a grenade, which Mason deflected, only for it to bounce into Josefina's room and explode, killing her. Moments before it detonated, Raul dove in after her, and it was presumed he died too. In reality, Noriega's men found him unconscious, provided medical care, and forged a partnership between the two. 3 years later, in December of 1989, America launched Operation Just Cause to depose Noriega, who was attempting a military coup in Panama. During the turmoil, Raul kidnapped David Mason, Alex Mason's son, and transported him to Panama. After Noriega's capture by Woods and Mason, Hudson ordered them to take Noriega alive due to his knowledge of a high-value target. Noriega led Woods to a rooftop, revealing the cuffed and hooded Raul Menendez, but when Woods fired and examined the body, he discovered that he'd killed his friend Alex Mason. Raul then showed up, kneecapped Woods, and dragged him, Jason Hudson, and David Mason into a room for torture. He then forced the two adults, Jason Hudson and Frank Woods, to decide who would die, the child or one of them. Hudson then volunteered, with Raul taking Hudson's life using Josefina's pendant. He then told the barely conscious David Mason he would suffer with him, daring him to find Raul when he was older. Over the next 20 years, Raul expanded his drug and gun smuggling empire, investing heavily in Tacitus, a tech company. As a major shareholder, he was able to manipulate contracts and coded backdoors into their software to which he could develop the Salarium worm virus, controlled by a USB hidden within his prosthetic eye, the one Mason had shot out. In June 2014, he launched Cordis Die, a social movement rallying billions to his cause, dismantling the corrupt 1% of capitalist nations. However, under the alias of Odysseus, his face hidden, his voice masked, he was able to forge alliances with Yemeni militias and mercenaries in order to wage his war on the first world powers. By 2025, Cordis Die had 2 billion followers, hailing Odysseus as the savior of the 99%. And that year, Raul Menendez crashed the Chinese stock market, framing the US for it. And when the FBI, realizing Cordis Die did it, shut down their social media, he retaliated by having the FBI director burned alive. Not even joking. However, it was finally time for Raul to set his master plan in motion, traveling to Yemen to recruit militias and meet Tian Zhao, the former ally of Alex Mason from Afghanistan. David Mason, now an adult, with allies Mike Harper and Javier Salazar, infiltrated the meeting. Raul, speaking with his albino second-in-command, DeFalco, ordered the capture of Chloe Lynch, the Salarium worm's designer, to prevent interference, we'll say. Anticipating the Americans listening in on his conversation in Yemen, Raul triggered an ambush, and David Mason's team fought to escape. They later had a confrontation with DeFalco, who snatched Chloe from her vacation on the Colossus floating island, though she was later freed by US Special Forces, and then another Special Forces team was sent to assassinate Tian Zhao, weakening Raul's alliances. On June 18, 2025, Raul rallied his followers in Yemen. Joined by DeFalco and undercover operative Farid, his third-in-command, American forces attacked. Luckily, DeFalco was able to down a VTOL, allowing for their escape. Raul told Farid to meet him at the Citadel, his fortress stronghold in Yemen. Farid then rushed through town and caught up as Raul shot down a VTOL carrying Harper. Raul gave Farid a choice to show his loyalty: shoot Harper or else. When Farid tried to kill Raul, Raul shot him in the chest and then in the skull, sparing Harper but leaving him beat and battered. As David Mason landed, they fought to the Citadel, where Raul surrendered to David Mason, who arrested him and brought him to the USS Obama for interrogation. This, however, was when Raul had a moment of luck. He hit subscribe down below to help me out with my channel, and also the like button if you're feeling really generous today. But anyways, Raul refused to speak to anyone but David Mason during the interrogation. And as they talked, his drone fleet, backed by mercenaries, attacked the USS Obama. Raul then overpowered Salazar and took him hostage, cuffed David, and then knocked them both out. When they awoke, Salazar joined Admiral Briggs on the bridge, while David helped to defend the fleet. Raul then snuck through the ship and rendezvoused with DeFalco, and together the two took the bridge, using Briggs as a shield. Briggs ordered Salazar to shoot through him, but Salazar revealed himself as a traitor, killing the crew while DeFalco executed Chloe. Raul then shot Briggs in the leg, and then pulled out his fake eye and smashed it on the table, revealing the Salarium worm USB. He plugged it in, hijacking the US drone network, and escaped with DeFalco on a jet. The Chinese forces, however, under a new general's command since the death of Tian Zhao, arrived just in time to save the American ship and fight off Raul's drones. Raul then unleashed drone strikes worldwide, targeting Los Angeles during the 2025 G20 summit on June 19, 2025, 52 years after his sister was burned in a fire. As cyber attacks raged, he retreated to his hidden base in Haiti. David Mason, Mike Harper, and the full might of the US Special Forces assaulted the facility, dropping from high altitudes with wing packs, as they fought their way to the control room where Raul Menendez's signature was coming from. However, they found Raul Menendez was automatically broadcasting a message, and his location was not there. Raul, in his message, encouraged Cordis Die to rise and attack their oppressors. Soon after the broadcast ended, the American teams discovered a dead US soldier stripped of his uniform. His body then exploded, killing most of the team. But David and Harper survived. As they battled through mercenaries, the floor below them collapsed. Harper fell, impaling his leg on rebar, while David clung to a beam. Below, Raul and DeFalco and a disguised soldier prepared to shoot Harper. David then slid down, killing DeFalco and the soldier with the gun he picked up, and as Raul pulled his pistol to shoot David, David stabbed Raul in the leg, then in the shoulder, disarming him. Raul urged David to kill him as a martyr for Cordis Die, as David took his pistol and pulled the trigger, ending Raul's life. So how is Raul Menendez back in Black Ops 7 though? The answer lies with the Guild Corporation, the game's villains. After Raul's death in 2025, the Guild bought a large chunk of the Tacitus Corporation, focusing on the direct neural interface technology that they were working on, a technology that allowed them to implant memories into someone's mind. The red butterfly in the trailer, with its electric hum when crushed, suggests that Raul's return isn't physical. He's a manipulation of David Mason's memory used by technology and implanted. And if you want to know more about the Black Ops 7 story and everything we know about the campaign of Black Ops 7, click the video here.